And hello and welcome. We're spreading a new game as the Great Qing. Little angry at myself last time. I think we picked up proportional taxation a little bit too early last time, and that very significantly delayed getting the gears going on Great Qing. So we still got up to 2.2 billion GDP before the end of time. Before the next major patch comes out, which is 1.9, I wanted to get one more game in, so that's what we're going to do. So I can have a baseline of how the game handles before and after the patch, see how much the trade makes a difference. I suspect it'll make a very big difference late game. Probably won't make much of a difference early game, we'll see. So basically sort of standard, hit the reset defaults, basically the standard settings for the game. With the loyalty grace period turned off, is what we're playing on. Let's get into the game as Great Qing. Like usual, we're probably going to do some variation on the cheese to bypass, well, actually fighting the Opium War while still getting our pops to stop having the demand for it. We don't have the modifier yet, but we'll quickly get the modifier, lowering our guys' desire, or lowering our guys' happiness because they are addicted to the opium. We're going to still do sort of the same sort of thing. We're going to do romanticism because we want to get swapped over to agrarianism right away to get off of traditionalism into stock exchange, and then probably after that we're going to try quickly run down to line infantry. Also going to be a little bit doing a different style on building up the states. I think I'm going to prioritize building up the core states this time, instead of trying to go quite so wide. Then I don't want to do the other degrees. Oh, probably just want to go with the suppressing the absolutists. Save a little bit of power to bolster the peasant movement when the peasant movement starts up. That way we have a greater possibility and probability of getting off of serfdom and on to, say, homesteading. As you can see, the only faction that actually wants us not to go to homesteading is the Scholar Official, which is our main government. And they, technically, if they're the only people in government, won't rebel when we go to that swap, is what it tends to be the case. I think in the meantime, we are going to save up and work towards dedicated police. Going to be the plan. Work that a bit faster. I don't actually need it to be faster, so we're not going to worry too much about making it faster. I'm going to do like a Shaanxi run. We're mostly focused on building Shaanxi. And then we'll probably walk that and another road maintenance around somewhere. We'll shut in Beijing for the moment. And then a little bit hard to see what... oh, because we're on low tax. Okay, so related to tax. Probably drop the government wages for the moment. Yeah, I think we'll roll with that until we see how bad status affairs is. So we got about 60k excess money. Each of these costs about 2,000 to support, so we can basically go ahead and just slap down the full 15 there. And we can probably slap another 15 down, and we'll probably put down fishing, for example. Once that's built, then we'll start probably working on bureaucracy. So that's the tech, that's the stuff. We are going to have, it's not showing as a potential yet, but we're going to have the... No, it's not even showing the potentials. Wait a moment, we'll get the that event associated with the Opium War to fire. And you can see we are currently positive bureaucracy. It looked negative at the beginning, that's because we started enacting dedicated police, and that makes the petite bourgeoisie happy. And their lesser ability is plus 10% bureaucracy. So the initial plans is get past the Opium War, get the opium modifiers to go away, get up to like the modern-ish Russian standard infantry. We have more infantry than the Russians, so if we can get that status, then we can go enforce not being unrecognized and get recognized off of the Russians. At which point we'll then start trying to push into the Middle East and Indochina. Indochina for rubber, the Middle East for oil. Yeah, we'll give it like one week just to make sure it's set up. Okay. We'll ban the opium trade and then start an incident with the British East India Company. You know, we'll just go in for investment rights. Give us some press expansion, but that's fine. Here's some infamy. And then we just wait for it to take over. You can see, if you declare war on one of the subjects to Great Britain, they'll place war operations as the primary demand, which means you can always back down to give them war operations, giving you a treaty. Okay, and we can back down. For that, we have a 5-year treaty with the British, which gives us enough time to get rid of the opium crisis, and most importantly, remove the opium, widespread opium addiction modifier, which is that minus 50% attack and defense. Standard of living is also not particularly nice either. And then once the standard of living modifier is gone, we'll probably also raise the taxes so we can expand faster. So the plan of this stream, or the plan of this recording, if everything goes according to plan, is I want to set a baseline of how quickly I can grow the Chinese economy under 1.7, to see how quickly I can grow it under 1.8, even though I probably won't pick up the DLC day one. Because I think the trading mechanics are potentially going to change exactly how quickly you can grow the Great Qing, especially in the late game. Maybe less so in the early game, we'll see. I think they've done some effects where, like, limits where you can put trading center or trading houses for the early game. Go ahead and just grab loyalists for the moment. I suppose we're going to speed it up here. Not much actively going on right now. We're just building up. We're building up our capacity to build things. Opium smugglers, we can execute them with more political power. Currently waiting for the peasant movement to start, so we can support them. That passed quicker than desired. That's probably a good way to think about it. For the moment, that's just good. We're gonna happily sit there. Little annoying that we've got the bureaucracy problem. I may move up the bureaucracy construction in the proverbial queue to compensate. Oops. Take the whole actually get to do what I wanted to do. Because we don't need this massive stockpile of money, but at the same time we don't want to be burning that quickly for the moment. Don't really want a debt until we've are defeating the Russians. It's maybe fine if we pick it up in the process of defeating the Russians. We're a little early for that. The next law we probably want to pass is getting on, well, might be getting on to homesteading. We'll see how quickly the power of the peasant movement increases. And then obviously we need to fix the bureaucracy problem, otherwise we're going to have a little bit of an issue. Well, not getting off of serfdom per se, but getting onto agrarianism, because we're going to lose the bureaucracy modifier from traditionalism. Oops. At the moment, we're going to go economies of scale maximization on our government bureaucracy. So that means everywhere we've got some, we want to get up to 20 before we build anywhere else. Then next is Beijing. Beijing. We've got some surplus of authority here, so let's go ahead and invest that in a tax. Right, so we got two. Got the degrees up we want, yeah. So we may have opium banned, but we're gonna sales tax it too, because that's I think you're allowed to do in the game, at least in the current build. Okay, we're just about bouncing around the positive income, so this is, at least for the immediate situation, going to be enough taxation capacity, so we can at least get the... Well, we're going to do a little bit of both, right? We want to build up the taxation capacity so we can support the construction, and we want to build the construction so we can build everything faster. Someone has appeared and is supporting the peasants' movement, so that's good to see. Peasants' movement is growing nice and strong. We'll probably wait until it gets up to about 30% and then try to end serfdom then. There's two ways to go about doing it. We can either jump to homesteading or we can jump to tenant farming. The peasants' movement supports homesteading, so we're going to try to go for homesteading. Tenant farming is going to sort of be the fallback if something doesn't go quite right. And we do want to empower the peasants for the moment. Okay, so we're not quite positive on bureaucracy. And Vietnam is going to be next. Finish building that sector there, and then to Beijing. So, as well, if you look at the beginning of the game has like a historical value for Qing GDP of like 113. Inevitably, every game it crashes immediately because I think that's based off of old values that aren't quite up to date anymore. We're going to do stuff that is going to eventually probably pop it back up, but we'll see how quickly that happens. So we got the first tech that we want. That will help a lot with profitability of industry. Won't necessarily help any with our taxation. Once we change that law. So the question is, do I want to change that law first? Or do I want to go for getting off of serfdom? So I'm going to reform the government, bring in the rural folk. So, getting off of traditionalism is only opposed by the absolutism movement, which has got... That's 12%. Oh no, what is that, the radicalism on it? Yeah. Okay. It's 12% support, supposedly. They're not angry enough to have a very high stall chance. But that also means we maybe don't need to do that right away. We can wait a moment and go for potentially the slightly harder one, which is homesteading. It says it has a really high stall chance. I don't know how much I believe that. So yeah, let's pop homesteading. At least try to pop homesteading. See how well that works. We're up at about 40%, just short of 40%. Team smugglers, get some more authority. We finished all the bureaucracy we had queued up. We will want to pre-build some, so let's queue that up. Taipei is the next place we're building in after Beijing, right? Yeah. Basically want the current stockpile money, which is about 6 million, to last out until the end of the opium crisis, and then we'll just raise taxes, and that'll get us back to positive. And we'll just eat the bureaucracy cost. We're going to build bureaucracy anyway, so it's a temporary modifier. Oh, and that's while enacting? Is that a while enacting modifier? It is, that's gonna go away real quick. It must be a while enacting modifier. You want us to pass agrarianism. I am in agreement. We will agree to that. I'm in agreement. We want that passed. I'm gonna see where I can see that modifier to see when it goes away. Expecting it to be a timed modifier, and apparently it isn't. It's until we get enough of current law done. That's going to be quickly. So. During the enactment of the next law, the current law? Or we can take 5 years. Okay. Iron and bureaucracy, next law. I think it's technically this law, not the next law. We'll take the 5% here because we don't want this to stall. Arguably, those might actually be the stall rolls. I don't think I have any interest supply at the moment. No. So I can move the Japanese one. I think we will move the Japanese. Let's move this one to France. I'm trying to improve relations with France. There we go. Homesteading complete. So that got us off of serfdom. And then we'll immediately turn around and try to give the rural folk their objective. Going Agrarianism. And yeah, you can see the bureaucracy was recovered a lot, because a lot of that was bureaucracy penalty until the end of the current law. It said next law, but pass until you pass the next law. And there is no opposition to agrarianism, so other than the fact that we don't have a particularly high probability of it getting to succeed, it's really easy to get past. Burning money a little bit faster than I would like. 11 months. We got like 11 weeks at the current rate. I think we'll eat the changes. Were you coming from La Fang? Is there any countries I can realistically sway in? I can sway a couple of their countries across, actually. Yeah, so it looks like there's no Europeans wanting to come help me. This is just the Dutch East Indies. If I had a navy, we'd probably just actually stop them, but no, we'll just end up giving in here. It's not worth fighting them for this. Looks like we got a private construction queue, so when we finish the construction, I'm just going to let the private construction queue take over for a moment on the build queue. There... Oh, almost. Almost got enough to support it. Okay. To be fair, Lofeng isn't, in my mind, isn't worth enough to try fighting for, so we're going to back down on that specific issue. Okay. Yeah, we're going to back down. It's not worth fighting. Lower taxes a little bit. Running a little bit close to the vest here on the money than I would rather want to do. Okay, that allows us to temporarily get more tax income, so we'll do that. Get us back in the green. What's driven up my costs somewhere? Probably rising government wages or government costs. Yeah, the government administrations are not cheap. And something changed and caused our war operations to jump a lot. Interesting. I suppose we're paying more because we just raised taxes a bunch. Yeah. Okay, well, build some government admin. It'll be fine. be fair, the taxes, I think, are only, or the war reparations are only for 5 years anyway, so they should stop in a moment, and then we should get positive again. Oh, there it is. 2 months? 1 month? And the open crisis over. It looks like on the next month we're gonna go into debt, which isn't quite what we want. We're gonna go with this option. This will give us a bit more bureaucracy, which allows us to put a little bit more taxes in. Sure, services. Yep. There we go. I think that was... Yeah, that was the war operations turning off. There we go. Okay, so needless to say, we need to get back to expanding the economy. We may not have actually gone into debt there. Doesn't really matter. I think we did. Based off of this, I think we did. We're 5 out of 5, which means we both got +1 and the -1, so we probably did go into debt. And then, oh, I need to get constructing. So I'm gonna guess we probably don't have enough bureaucracy, but we're not gonna rush off to build more bureaucracy right away. What is our paper cost? Paper is probably gonna be one of our largest costs, plus 28%. Yeah, we should probably build some paper. Build like 20. And the paper is something I am gonna spread around. Okay. Because I am running that around, I'm going to go ahead and drop the road maintenance for the moment. Invest that in more taxes. Oop. And we're good. Over... Might be a little overbuilt. Can I... Yeah, look at this. Oh, let's see. There we pause it. Build up a little bit of a stockpile, so I'm not. Yeah, we must have. Well, we know we wanted to do that at that point. Until we get Agrarianism passed, let's drain our spending a little bit. Okay, so we now have the market access price impact modifier from stock exchange. That's the main reason we're actually trying to complete. Getting agrarianism is because that's going to remove the miles from one of the other texts we have. Yeah, I think we're going to go mandatory service line infantry, modernize the infantry and go to war. Oh, actually, before I forget, we probably want colonialism. We need colonialism for the, well, the declared interest, but also the it's a requirement for one of the journal entries that we want to complete. Specifically, the earning recognition journal entry. quite there on Joseon becoming a proper vassal. And Piers isn't completed. One reason I went for colonialism is we know we're going to spread mandatory service here. It's going to go mandatory service for line infantry. We're not sure if it's going to do, and it's not doing, colonialism. So we need colonialism and line infantry to win the war with Russia. Well, to win the war with Russia the way I normally fight. Okay, we got enough of a gold reserve. Let's... the bureaucracy, pay it again. Okay. That's all we want. Agrarianism's taking longer than I actually somewhat expected it to. To be fair, the peasant movement I don't think it is helping. It'll help with the taxes, I suppose. More suppressing the absolutist movement is helping. Because they really like traditionalism, and we're trying to get off to agrarianism. So I suppose actually for the moment we're not going to change taxation law for a while. Let's stop bolstering you, and we'll pull that money out, or pull that authority out to go more to taxes. Yeah, one of our largest costs right now is that paper cost, so dragging the paper cost down is a good thing to do. Which is why we're building paper right now. The other one to do is going to be a lot of wood in response to building up the industry, because we're probably going to stay on the wood industry for a little while. There we go. It's a reasonably profitable paper mill. Might start thinking about expanding the construction again. Oh, and I should be privatizing. Owner-owned levels to the top. Privatize, 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 and privatize. I think that's the privatize button. Yeah. That's what I say. Don't have any of them right now, but if I do end up with some, start privatizing, please. Probably looking at, probably need more construction sectors. Start with, actually, we'll go with the full 15. And then I should probably start growing the bureaucracy. Looking at the bureaucracy, we're a little close to the bureaucracy vest. Minority protests are going to go away, which is 5%. Working against the system is going to go away, which is another 5%, but I think we need more than that. I'm going to cover the agrarianism change. Which should hopefully be soon now that we're over 50% on it. And we can see that our GDP is back up. We were at the low, I think, of like 70, 80-ish. So we're up about 10 million. And I think the big income change is we rose high enough with opinion that noble privileges turned off. Okay, there's colonization. A little earlier than we need it, because we probably want line infantry, really. That's what I think I need, line infantry. Yeah, after that's going to be, or after what the paper mill's finished, we're going to go back to government admin. That's improving relations with the French. Did that finish? Probably. Do those regions. How's opinion of the French? Stopped improving for some reason. Okay, we'll try again. Seeing the French flag has changed. We have cordial relations with these guys. We actually don't want that, so let's start lowering relations. Them. Increase autonomy there. Gives a little bit more taxes. And we can see earning recognition. The two requirements is that you have a great power that likes you 50%, and that you get 200 progress on here. The most reliable way I find is some sort of war is Great Qing, because otherwise you're waiting to basically get your like literacy and such really, really, really high, which when you're working with about 400 million people is not doable in practice in a realistic time span. Looking at the time, we will... What I'm going to do is I'm going to get the military tech we need, and then I'm going to do the reorganization of the military during the break. It's basically going to be the same sort of reorganization I've done in the previous run, which is I'm just going to go ahead. By default, this is the distribution of the three sort of Great Qing regions where the troops are positioned. Basically, I just merge the merge the troops in each of the regions into one stack. Give them all, give these two regions basically 4 generals, and then assign all the conscripts to these two. For the war, I'll basically be with everyone on the defensive, and we'll just have the small stack do naval landings. No. We're not invading the Ottoman Empire today. At least not that early. Do I want more over an administration? Probably. Grab another 12. Let's see where we are. Agrarianism should finish soon. a month so we can see the... Yeah, okay, so we do need a little bit of bureaucracy, but not a lot. Got most of what we need. Last time I screwed up by running very rapidly to proportional. As you can see, it's 200 less taxation revenue. I was hoping that I would benefit from the increasing tax income and dividend rate faster, and sort of screwed up the timing there. I needed to wait for them to be a little bit closer in value before making the switch. In the long run, proportional is the better way to go, because, well, we start a land tax, which is a flat tax on all people who work rural buildings. So basically just the peasants and the odd laborer that works a farm. So I think technically, if you come in here, I think these laborers are technically paying that tax. No, maybe they don't even pay the tax. Maybe it is just peasants. Yeah, we're paying 10% of their income tax. They got a decent amount of income, so they're actually paying something. They're obviously paying our consumption taxes. We've turned that up. But yeah, so as a side effect, as you build up the country, land taxation, the value on land taxation goes down. You've basically got the best of the amount of land taxation right at the beginning. In theory, as we build a government bureaucracy and get more taxation capacity, our taxation is going to go up. But that's kind of a Qing super high density population special. In practice, that means the only way to really grow your tax base is to get off of land based onto something else. But you need that to still be better than that flat tax, because that flat tax is a lot of tax. It's just on the poorest people of your country. We're definitely making more revenue than I necessarily need right now. Let's go ahead and dump it into bureaucracy, get some influence, or get some authority so we can feel like we can actually move around our taxes or decrees. We're basically waiting for the next 14 months to pass here so we can pick up line infantry. While trying to grow the economy as best as we can. We're going to need about 4 more bureaucracy. We're going to do a little bit higher than that. We're going to do 12, but I think we're getting pretty close to where we need bureaucracy-wise. And I suppose we should, at some point, this might actually be worth doing, is incorporate our unincorporated states. Yeah, let's go ahead. Establish taxation in the outer zones. There we go. Okay, so we're bureaucracy positive. That will increase our taxes a little bit. We can continue to build up construction a little bit. I think that's what I will do right away. Let's build up. I don't really want to do Nanjing or Henan. Neither Nanjing nor Henan have iron. Yunnan, which we've done, has iron. We mainly want to build construction sectors in places where we got the doublet coal, iron, and, well, wood's a little bit less important, but wood as well. South Manchuria wouldn't be bad. We got 1.9 million peasants there. Outer Manchuria, or what used to be Outer Manchuria, is a little bit bad. Doesn't quite have enough peasants right now. So yeah, we'll build up the construction sector here. And then I think we'll go to expanding port. Actually, no, we probably want to build guns next, because we're going to need a lot of guns. How much infrastructure do we have there? 12. Maybe we might want to put it in a coastal place. Let's do something like that. Let's start off. And then, yeah, I think after that we're going to want to build some ports. I didn't build ports very much last time. Partially regret that because I got in the way when it came time to do actual trade. Okay. War convoys allow us to go places, is basically the plan. And we're waiting... Actually, before we do that, we do want probably to expand... We want to build some universities. It probably wants to be Beijing, Shanxi. But we got infrastructure issues here. What about 6 for the steel maker, or steel foundry, and the engine maker before we get railroads? Because we're going to want to start building those right before we get railroad tech. So I'm not going to invest too much in universities because we just don't have the infrastructure for it. So I think the rest of this episode will be quickly getting line infantry, and then we'll start mobilizing for war. We should very easily, because we've almost certainly beat... we almost certainly got to line infantry before Russia has got to skirmish infantry. Our army should be big enough that we can basically slap Russia around until they get skirmish infantry. And it should be big enough that we should be protected from Russia attacking us even once they get skirmish infantry. Yeah, we're going to definitely have to rapidly expand the arms infantry. We just built 5 factories, so it should go up to 100. We need 1 per army unit, basically. And even before we start conscription, we're 485 unit strong army. So we're gonna need another, like... Oh, now I'm trying to mentally do the math in my head. That's not jiving super quick. Like another 20. There we go. There's line infantry. That's all the military tech I really care about. Yeah, technically the mobile artillery lancers would be a little bit better than line infantry. But mainly we're going to be waging in maneuver warfare. What we're going to do instead in tech is we're going to do atmospheric engines. By the time atmospheric engines should be done, because we've done that detour to get to line infantry, lathe should be done, so we can do atmospheric engines, mechanical tools, railways. This is the plan. I'll talk about it a little bit more, but we're going to also do a little bit of a thing with the atmospheric engine check so that we can get it to apply to railways, so we can get railways done a little bit faster as well. But yeah, I'm going to put a part break in here, give myself a little bit of time to get up, stretch the legs, sip a little bit of tea, and then if you're watching on Twitch, I'll leave the stream up while I'm doing that, and then we'll come back and we'll do the army merge. I'll save YouTube the army merge. It's literally, I'm going to be merging this army, I'm going to be merging this army, or this stack and that stack, making sure the generals are properly positioned, signing all the conscripts, and then we're going to be looking at what we need to do to start the war with Russia. We've got Russian opinion low enough. We're still waiting on the French opinion. Not quite there with the French opinion. We'll see if there's anything we can do to speed them up after we do the free arms organization. So if you're watching on YouTube, my plan is to upload one of these a day. Though I'm going to be recording this in blocks during my free time, so the streams aren't going to be very predictable. So if you're watching on Twitch, hope you've been enjoying. If you're watching on YouTube, there probably will be another part up tomorrow. In fact, there may be more than one part up tomorrow, or even today. My goal is to try to get this done by about the patch. We'll see how well that goes. And then the uploads might be a little bit delayed from that. And then post-patch, we'll basically record it again, but with the patch, and see how things have changed. So until next time, wish you all the best of luck and a good time. Catch you all in the next part, and bye for now.